You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron, live with Athan Hristodulu.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Greeks Gridiron. I am Athan Hristodulu. It is Friday, October 22nd. We just got done with not a super crazy Thursday night football game, one rattled with injuries. My undefeated streak on Thursday night football games has come to an end. There was a piece of advice I heard before I made my prediction for the Broncos to win, and it was that in a Thursday night game, in a situation like this, you usually want to go with the home team, and I did not expect a backup running back to move to the tone of 145 yards rushing for the Cleveland Browns. Their offensive line was good enough to withstand injuries, and, props to the Browns, I think, is really all I've got to say about all of that. But today, let's talk about what we are doing today. This video is my top 5 MVP candidates. We are officially now 7 weeks into the season, but only one game played, but we're about a third of the way through the season at this point. There are 18 weeks now, so about a third. I thought this would be a good opportunity to just kind of go over some names that I think are absolutely killing it, who I feel should be in the running for MVP. There might even be a surprise pick or two on there. Maybe not. It might just be, the standard people you'd expect to hear on this list. But I would love to know what you guys think. So as I'm talking about them, comment in the comment section down below. Let me know, what am I getting right? What am I getting wrong? Like the vid if you enjoy what we're doing. And of course, subscribe so you can catch even more content. Now, before we get into things, I do have a list of honorable mentions that I want to pop out real quick. And the 3 names are quarterback Matthew Stafford of the Rams, Justin Herbert of the Chargers. Those two I think are playing really, really well, and they were edged just out of this list. And then on top of that, I also want to shout out defensive end Myles Garrett. The dude is on an absolute tear right now. He has 29 quarterback pressures altogether, which is 6 ahead of the next guy behind him. And on top of that, 9.5 sacks. The dude is an absolute freak athlete and has been crushing it and was a big proponent in why the Browns are able to pull out a big win last night. So shout out to those 3 guys. You just missed the list. I really wish that I could fit 8 people in a top 5, but I just cannot. I can only go with 5 answers. So let's talk about who we have. I'll go from 5 all the way up to number 1, and starting out with my number 5 choice, who I think is having an absolute stellar year, and he gets so much hate, and I don't understand why, is got to be the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson. This dude is an absolute stud, and year over year, he has just progressed and gotten better and better and better. He has shown up this year in primetime games that he can throw the football. The stupid adage of like, oh, he's just a running back playing the quarterback position. No, the dude has an arm. He knows where to put the football, and his numbers speak for themselves. He has 11 total touchdowns, 9 passing, 2 rushing. He does have 5 interceptions, which is kind of part of the reason why I have him a little bit lower on the list. He also has the lowest completion percentage out of the quarterbacks that I have on here. He is sitting at only 67.5% completion, so a little bit lower than some of the other guys. But the dude has amassed a total of 2,078 yards. He has more yardage than either just over or just under half the teams in the NFL right now as a sole player on his own between passing and rushing. That is absolutely ludicrous. On top of that, some big numbers that really stand out for me. His 8.7 yards per average for passing attempts is 5th in the league at, again, 8.7, which is a big number. That's also a career high for him, a career best up to this point. He also has a total of 80 first downs through the air, and that's not to mention the 24 first downs on the ground that he has, which is first among quarterbacks. And then to cap it all off, the big number, the one that I think really matters when it comes to separating yourself from the rest as one of the best, is the 3 fourth-quarter comeback and game-winning drives. When your team needs you most, you have the X factor, the ability to lead this team to victory, and Lamar Jackson has it. I think he is one of the best in the league. I picked him as my number 5 quarterback heading into the season. If you go by MVP rankings at this point, he's probably like 5 or 4, maybe even 3. You could argue. It just depends on where you sit them. But I think he is one of the best, and he can beat you on the ground, through the air. And if he can't beat you, the Ravens team is good enough to be at 5-1 and rely on maybe the running game or something else to stand out and be able to lock up a win. But Baltimore, that you're in good hands. Lamar Jackson is killing it this year. Coming in at my number 4 pick, and this is a guy that, I wasn't sure about heading into this year, coming off such a massive injury. We did not know what to expect, if he was going to be able to trust himself, if it was going to take some time to knock off the rust, and he has proved myself and a lot of other doubters wrong, or skeptics, whatever you want to call us, in the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, Dak Prescott. Number 4, sitting at number 4. The guy has had an outstanding year. 16 passing touchdowns, which is tied for third amongst quarterbacks. He has only 4 picks, 1,813 yards, which ranks him 5th total amongst quarterbacks. And then he has 115 QBR, which puts him right at number 4 there as well. He's sitting in a lot of top 5, in a lot of categories here. He has 2 game-winning drives, 95 first downs passing, which is 3rd best amongst quarterbacks. His yards per attempt is tied at 7th for 8.4. And then he has the 2nd best completion percentage at 13.1%. And then on top of that, his touchdown percentage off of attempts thrown is sitting at 7.4, and that's 5th best in the league. And if you're not sure what that means, essentially it's just his percentage of touchdowns thrown through all of his passing attempts. 7.4% of his passing attempts have gone for touchdowns, which is a pretty good number to have when you're ranked number 5 in the league. Overall, stats aside, Dak Prescott has been playing at such an elite level, and a lot of people, myself included, were just concerned with the injury and how he was going to fare coming back from it. If you remember how devastating that injury was and how bad it looked, that's got to take a mental toll on you. Never mind physically, but just the mental, being able to trust that leg to carry your body weight and to move you through the pocket and to throw on the run, and just... There is so much that goes into that, and my biggest concern was really just, is he going to be able to get over that hump? And not so much if he was going to get over it, but just how quickly would he be able to get over it? I never really doubted his ability to, but just how long would it take you? You never really know. These are the type of injuries that really test a player and show you who they really are, and Dak Prescott has shown at this point in the season he is one of the best to be throwing the football. 3rd round draft pick, and the guy is looking awesome. Or 4th round? I can't remember. 3rd or 4th round, one of those two. But aside from that, he is one of the best in the business at what he is doing. Now, coming in at number 3, you could argue maybe he needs to be a little bit higher, maybe he needs to be a little bit lower. I know some crazy people that are saying he doesn't even deserve to be on the list because of the talent around him. However, you cannot deny him. He is the 7-time Super Bowl champion and one of the best to ever do it, if not the best to ever do it. Quarterback Tom Brady of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There is not really much to say. I think everything has been said over tenfold. His numbers this year are looking outstanding. He is in 2nd place with touchdowns scored, passing 17. He has 3 interceptions. He is 1st in yardage at 2,064 yards. He has 108 QBR, which puts him at number 6th. And I think it's 6th by 0.1. I think Jameis Winston is ahead of him at 108.1. So it's basically almost 5th. And then from there, his completion percentage, a little bit on the lower side, 68.5. He is at 11th there. His interception ratio, though, her percentage-wise, is outstanding. He's ranked at number 4, and it's at 1.1%. So only 1.1% of I think it's 267 passing attempts that Brady has had, which leads the league, has gone for an interception. That's outstanding. 267 passes. Think about that. And only, 3 of them have been picked. The man is efficient. He's good at what he does. I don't care what you have to say about the talent around him. Yes, does he have Evans and Godwin and Brown and Gronk when he's healthy, and the running backs with Fournette and Jones? I mean, there is so much talent on the offensive line. Don't forget the lineman, man. Talk about a pick in Wirfs, and that Ali Marpet. I mean, there's just so much to like about this Tampa Bay offense, and Tom Brady is the glue that, sticks it all together and makes it happen to the best of its ability. You cannot deny the guy. He has 7 Super Bowl seven Super Bowl trophies to his name. I think he has 4 MVP awards at this point. I mean, the guy year in and year out does his job and does it just about better than anybody else. And if he's not doing it the best, he's 2nd or 3rd in the running. At this point, I would say that Tom Brady's probably the 2nd best quarterback in the league. And you could probably even argue he's 1st. I mean, he just does his job so well. He's doing it again this year, and he's playing at an absolute elite level. Now, top 2. Who's number 2? Who's number 1? My number 2 pick in the MVP runnings is literally running his way into an MVP award if he continues at the pace he is going. And I think you know where I'm going with this one. The guy is an absolute beast. He's 6'4", 240 some odd pounds. The guy can run a 4.4 40, but apparently he can run even close to a 4.3. I don't know. The dude makes no sense. Running back of the Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry, is an absolute beast at what he's doing. And part of the reason I don't have him at number one is because the MVP award has almost turned into a best quarterback in the league award, which there is already like a best QB kind of thing, but I don't know. I just feel like the offensive player of the year could usually go to quarterbacks, sometimes running backs, wide receivers, depending on how good they're going. But the MVP award really has become a quarterback's award, and that's partially why I have him at number two. I almost feel like he should be the number one choice for this, but like the way the NFL has worked, MVP is always being dished out to a quarterback. But Derrick Henry, in my opinion, is the guy on his team, and if he's not the NFL's MVP, he is the Titans' MVP. Let's just listen to these totals here. The guy is on pace to be the first running back ever to have back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons, and with a 17th game, I don't really see why that can't happen at this point. He has 921 yards of total offense. That's first all-purpose yards. That's, anything offensive related, he is first in that category. He has 783 yards rushing of that 921 total, the other 138 coming from receiving yards. The dude has 10 rushing touchdowns, and we are in week 7. He's only played in 6 games, and we're in week 7. He still has to play this week. 10 rushing touchdowns, and he's 5 ahead of the guy that's at number 2. It's not even close. Then from there, no fumbles. You can expect Derrick Henry will not drop the football very often, or he won't at all. Then from there, you look at his yards per attempt, 4.8. That's not even his career best. I think his career highest is 5.2 or 3, and he's not even running at his best. That's the crazy thing. Then you look at his yards per game average, which is a career high for him, 130.5 a game. And then the crazier stat that came out just last week was his next-gen stat for how fast he was running at 21.8 miles per hour. That is the fastest speed clocked by any ball carrier at this point in this season. The guy is literally the engine of the Tennessee Titans offense. Whether the passing game is having a good game or not, you can guarantee that Derrick Henry is probably having a good game based off his 130.5 average per game total. He's usually good for 100 yards a game minimum. He had the one down week in week 1, and since then has just been an absolute terror for everybody involved that is playing defense against him. Again, I think that he probably should be number 1 on this list. Partially, one of the reasons I don't have him there is just because this is it's a quarterback's award, it feels like at this point, and I really don't like that about the award. That's why I gave an honorable mention out to Myles Garrett too, because the guy is absolutely tearing it up over on the Browns. He was a big reason into why the Cleveland Browns defense was able to hold the Broncos to only 14 points just last night. And, if this wasn't a quarterback award and it wasn't swayed so heavily in their direction, I might even have him fit as the number 1 pick on here. He is it's almost like a 1A, 1B that I kind of have in this list, with Derrick Henry just taking the 2 spot for the sake of the top 5 rankings. But the guy is an absolute monster, and he should 100% be. And if he hits 2,000 yards again, I don't know, man. I want him to break the rushing record, because then he has to win the MVP award. And the guy already has 10 touchdowns. He's only played 6 games. He still has another whole, 11 games left to play. He's probably going to hit 20 touchdowns. And if he hits, the record for rushing yardage as well, you have to give the guy the MVP award. You have to. It's just unbelievable how good he's played. Now, the big one, the one that everybody's been waiting for, the number 1 choice that I have in the MVP runnings at this point in the season. The guy has really stepped up this year. I have watched him progress each and every year since he's been drafted by his team. And honestly, I think he's playing the quarterback position better than anybody else right now, from passing to running, how efficient he is at everything. He is doing things really, really well, and I love his game. The number 1 guy on my list, quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray. The dude has his team at a cool 6-0, the only undefeated team in the league. Taking a look at his numbers, 17 total touchdowns, 14 of those through the air, 3 of them rushing. He's tied for 6th on the passing touchdowns list there. He also has 1,741 yards of passing, and has a total of 1,857 because 116 of those yards are coming from rushing with 3 rushing touchdowns as well. The guy is tearing it up this year. His QBR is 116.2. That puts him at number 3 in the league there. And with Russell Wilson out, and he's going to drop from the top spot, I think he has 125.3. You could almost put him at number 2 now since Russell Wilson is out. But I mean, you just look at it. Yards per attempt, 8.9. That's 3rd best in the league. He's the most efficient passer in the NFL right now. You want to talk about how good Drew Brees was at it. Kyler Murray's doing it just like that, and if not even a little bit better at 73.8% completion percentage. That is 1st in the league, tops. Touchdown percentage is really good as well. For all of his passing attempts, 7.2%. That is 7th best in the league. Has him efficiently throwing touchdowns. I mean, the guy has hardly any interceptions at all, at only 4. Kyler Murray is doing things at a crazy elite level. I mean, the talent around him is great. Don't get me wrong. He's got AJ Green now to complement, DeAndre Hopkins. Then that defense is looking outstanding this year. Of course, he has a fantastic team around him, but again, we're talking one sole most valuable player on that team. And when you think of the Arizona Cardinals, and the reason they are at 6-0 is because Kyler is playing big game football when other people are just showing up and suiting up. I love what Kyler Murray's doing. I love his ability to, when things break down, to scramble out of the pocket and still make a play through the air, and then be smart enough to know when to take it to the ground and bring it into the house. Obviously, with his 3 rushing touchdowns being an example of that. He plays at such a great level, and I think that for a team that's 6-0 and dominating the way they are and dominating the way he is, the Cardinals are not getting enough love. So if you are a Cardinals fan, I hope you see this and you realize that I see what's going on over there in Arizona. Your team is killing it. Your quarterback is killing it, and he is my number 1 choice for the MVP award as of this moment. But that is my top 5. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. And again, if you enjoyed the video, show the support, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I will catch you guys on Sunday for game picks. But that is it for me. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.